Hi everybody, welcome to Quarantine Movie Club. We're going to do our movie review of WALL-E this week. So happy Friday. Alright, we'll start with our focus questions this time. And I had 6 questions. Okay? So, number 1 was, why do the creators of the film choose Hello Dolly, a musical about a matchmaker in the 1890s, as the only movie that WALL-E has access to? So out of all the movies in the entire universe, why Hello Dolly? I think it's because if you've never seen Hello Dolly, it's very, very cheerful and it's very optimistic. And I mean, it takes place in a time when everything is being born and things are exciting, new things are happening or going to happen or starting to happen. So I think it's just there to really contrast where WALL-E is in that scene, in that particular situation. I'm gonna try to go a lot quicker on this video because the last one was way too long and it took me a while to upload it. Okay, so how is this film dystopian and what does it have in common with Fahrenheit 451? So it's obviously dystopian. I put a lot of emphasis on that on the first video. It's dystopian because it has a negative kind of view of the future. I mean, it features a very bleak physical environment, like in Fahrenheit 451, there's a lot of technology. There's a lot of people relying on technology. So those are what they have in common. Okay, how do they indirectly characterize WALL-E with giving him human characteristics? So in other words, how does he have a personality, even though he's a robot? So he's very, very sentimental. He's very, he likes collecting trash. Like he knows what he likes. He collects little nichey things that he thinks are cute or funny or whatever, and I don't know. So he's kind of nostalgic. He's kind of he likes his movie. He's really sensitive. You can tell that he wants to be in love with Eve or like recreate some scenes of his favorite movie or whatever. It's really cute. So he's very sensitive. I think he's a cool dude. Okay. How do WALL-E and Eve contrast each other besides the obvious physical, representation of both of these? She's like white and sleek and really futuristic looking, and he's very dirty and kind of like old robot, sort of. He's like a more vintage robot than Eve is. So, but also she's very quick to decide on things. She's very violent. She's ready to like shoot stuff and blow stuff up. And he's, like I said, he's very conservative and likes to keep things in its original form, and he's very conscious of that when he notices how destructive Eve actually is. What is the significance of Eve's name? So I just thought this was really interesting that they, I forgot the acronym for her name. It was like Earth Evaluator or something, Vegetation Evaluator, or I don't really know. I don't even remember. I'm just making that up. But she is a reference to Eve from the Bible. So like being one of the first people on Earth, Eve the robot is going to be the founder of one of the first pieces of life on Earth again, the second time. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of a foreshadowing when you discover her name is Eve in a weird way. Last question is, what is the overall theme or the main idea of the movie? I don't know what you guys found. There was a lot of, I think it's a very distracting movie. Like you're halfway through it and you're like, I don't know. It's just a lot going on. So the themes I found were 2. Well, like, whatever. So people have to solve their own problems. Like, and that kind of goes back to our Fahrenheit 451 question. We cannot rely on technology or the Earth to take care of itself. If we have a problem, we need to solve it as a people. The second thing I found was, in order to care for ourselves and fellow man, we need to take better care of our planet. So those two kind of go together. Those two kind of are the same. Also wanted to point out, in my intro video, I said I would be posting some science articles, but I didn't really find anything that was really complimentary to the questions I had. So one of the questions I did have was, we see dust storms all the time. I think like 2 or 3 times in the movie, WALL-E runs from a dust storm. So I did some research on that, and I'm so dumb. Like, I didn't even realize, I didn't think about the Dust Bowl. dust storms are from lack of vegetation, which makes sense now that I knew that. But just to say, it's from lack of vegetation that the dust causes a storm, like it does on Mars or anything. So I was gonna post something about that, but then I realized it was probably pretty obvious to you guys. So okay, now let's move on to our focus. So this week's focus was on mood, and remember, that's more like focusing on the atmosphere or the aura of the movie or the scene, not how the author feels, it's how you feel. So this is a lot easier for us to interpret. I think the hardest part and the biggest part of this is finding out which word matches your mood best. So I kind of just glanced over a list, and I'll kind of glance over it again as I go over this. But that's the trickiest part, is finding the right word, I think. So I picked out a few scenes or a few moments from the movie that I thought were worthy of noting the mood. Okay, so the opening song where they sing "Put on Your Sunday Clothes," there's lots of world out there, and they do the like little pano of the earth, and it, for that being the first thing you see, it's pretty like unsettling. Like, that is, we have such a joyful song, and then you see the trashed planet. I don't know, so kind of like a little disturbed right there. So Earth in the beginning is full of trash. It's gray, it's smoggy, and compared to the song, it's kind of contrasted. It's empty. The music echoes. The color of Wally, the color of his surroundings. It's very eerie, and I feel kind of, here I felt kind of guilty in a weird way, because like, this is our planet, and knowing what the movie's about, you feel kind of guilty right away, like, oh crap, this is Earth, we did this. So definitely uncomfortable was the mood there. Kind of not the best mood word, but I think I was definitely uncomfortable. Also, the commercials playing for no one, and the mood of the commercials is also very eerie and kind of scary, and the feeling of being like abandoned. Let's see. The mood of the movie in general, I just made this note. Before Eve shows up, it's very lonely, it's very hopeless, it's very pessimistic, like nothing's happening. Wally has been packing trash for 700 years. There's nothing here, there's no story here. But after Eve shows up, your mood starts to, I think, get a little more hopeful and optimistic, because she drives the story, she drives Wally's motivation, like, there's something happening, so you, the viewer, kind of pick up on that. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. So, okay, I also wanted to mention the mood on the spaceship, like while you're on the spaceship. You get the feeling that something is wrong. Everything's fake and artificial. So here I put uncomfortable, maybe even overwhelmed. I was a little overwhelmed, because it was like, cupcake in a cup, buy all this stuff, you can change from blue to red or red to blue, and you have a screen in your face, and I don't know, so kind of overwhelming for me. So when Eve gets the plant, and it's like really tense and everybody's fighting over the plant, so you kind of go back to hopelessness, like the technology's taking over, it's a little hopelessness. Let's see. When the captain sees the scary message about not being able to go back to Earth, same thing there. You get a little bit hopeless, pessimistic. But when the captain took his first steps, that's pretty felt pretty triumphant. Even though I did nothing, I did nothing at all. All I did was watch the movie. I was like, yes, I did it, perfect. There's some more hopelessness when Wally kind of loses himself. You just lose it a little bit, and then when they return to Earth and you see people starting to adjust, which is not scientifically possible that quickly. I did find that out. That's not how it would happen. When they return to Earth and they start, trying to walk and breathe the crappy air again, you do feel a little hopeful. You're like, oh, there will be a life after this scene, after the end of the movie. Even though they have one plant and 1 billion people, they're gonna make it work. I just know it. Yeah. So, like I said, that was a really slim pickings. I can't find a really good mood word sheet. So I kind of picked a few that I'll probably have the same somewhere. But it really is all depending on how you feel while you watch it and how you read or watch things. So next week I'll probably focus on something like conflicts, where we can get into something a little more concrete. I realized this lesson was a little bit difficult for some people because it's, like I said, it's about pinpointing your opinion and your emotions to a word. So it was maybe a little hard to understand for some. I understand. So we'll do conflict next week. I don't know what movie yet, but I will give you guys a sneak peek maybe this weekend. Alright, well, I hope you all have a great weekend. It was Earth Day this week, so celebrate Earth Day. Go outside, plant a tree, plant a plant, breathe the air. I don't know, do something great. So I'll see you all next week. Bye.